Paso a Paso podcast.
All right, welcome to our Paso podcast, also known as Paso a podcast. We have here Valeria. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Valeria Santiesteban, and I am the new director here at Los Angelitos Early Intervention Services in Taos.
Wonderful. And obviously with the Paso podcast, we largely focus on organizations and individuals who are based in Taos, New Mexico, and that's where we all are now. Just to start out with some basic questions to help people understand your services more, what is once again, the name of your organization and where is it located?
Okay, so we are Los Angelitos Early Intervention Services, and we are located on 1030 Salazar Road here in Taos, New Mexico, and we're the building right next to the DMV.
Great. And what sort of services does your organization provide?
Okay. We provide early intervention services and supports for families of children ages 0 to 3 who have or are at risk of a development delay or disability. Services are provided at no cost to families using a combination of Medicaid, state general funds, Individuals with Disability Education Act grant, and private health insurances.
Okay. So for families that you work with, are they normally referred to your program or do they reach out to you?
They could be reached out. They could be referred by their doctors, teachers, parents themselves can reach to us if they have any concerns with their child's development.
And do you have a website or a phone number, or what is the easiest way for parents to get in touch with you if they do have a question like that?
If they do have a question, so they can reach out to me. Our number is 575-758-4274. My extension is 127. Or if they want to send an email as well, they could reach me at bpolanco@eladc.org. That's my email, bpolanco@eladc.org. Yeah. So any concern regarding their child's development, many times parents reach out because they have concerns that their child is not talking or not talking right, or maybe that they're not crawling. So any basic little concerns that they might have. And many times they also share them with their doctors. So then their doctor will right away make a referral to us.
So if a family is involved in your program, what does that look like? Do they have a meeting once in a while with some of your staff, or what do they get involved in?
So the way it looks is that our team, the team provides the family-centered early intervention services in the child's natural environment, such as their home or any other community setting. Services include supports from a team of professionals, including a development specialist, a physical therapist, and a speech therapist, or any other professional, depending on the child's need. And it also depends on the child need how often we meet. So it could be maybe once a month, or there's other children that we see once a week for an hour.
Right now, everybody's experiencing COVID-19 and the various ways that puts stressors on families and changes people's employment. But has COVID changed at all your services, or how do you kind of adapt to that nowadays?
So we've had to adapt to a new procedure. So we continue to provide services to a community under a presumptive eligibility, since we are not allowed to do in-person visits and complete an evaluation for the child. The team still supports the family via Zoom or through phone calls, but it's all under a presumptive eligibility.
Great. And does that kind of mean that your organization assumes that if someone's reaching out, that they would qualify automatically at this time?
Yes. And what that means too is that whenever COVID is lifted, whenever that is, then we'll go in person and complete an evaluation to determine if the child qualifies for our services.
Cool. Thank you very much for all that. So this is a series of interviews that we're doing, as you know, for Paso Paso Early Childhood Network here in Taos, New Mexico. And we're also recording these to be played on KNC 93.5 FM. You've shared a lot of great information about your organization and how people can contact you and the community members you serve. What are kind of the most fun or like most frustrating parts of working in the work that you and your staff do that you might want to share some insight on?
Well, I gotta say that it's very fun interacting with children, with little babies or infants and their parents, and just trying to support them as best as we can with whatever the need is. I did forget to mention that we do work with children from 0 till they're 3 years old. Once they turn 3 years old, then we help them transition to the public schools so that they could continue receiving services. And it's just really fun just interacting with them, seeing how sometimes they might not be doing something, and after working with them for a couple of weeks we start noticing, or the parents share that they have noticed improvement in their development. So I think that's always something really nice to see.
And that's pretty much, I guess, what one of the things that families gain or benefit from being involved in your program, it sounds like, is the opportunity to have someone that is used to paying attention to child development, help with some ideas, and identify some things that might be helpful for the parent to use while they're at home.
Yes. So we always try to, give them different ideas, or sometimes even model ways that they can interact with their child during their daily routines. You know, and then if they're not at home, we also interact like with the daycares, and to help the providers at the daycare with different activities or ideas that they can do to support the child.
Wow. So does that mean that if a parent has their child in a daycare or early childhood setting here in Taos, and they're also receiving your services, then some of your staff can go to the daycare once in a while to meet them there?
Yes, that is correct. Because a lot of our families do work, so, and the natural environment of the child is that they're at the daycare most of the day. So we would go to the daycare and provide services there, but we also would like to at least once a month interact with the parent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I imagine that having the parents involved in this process with their children is really important. I imagine it's not as though when your staff meet with the child that's the only work you expect to be done with the child, but it needs that follow up from the parent, right?
Yes, because I think it's the importance of keeping that communication within all the different parties or the different places the child is at.
Yeah. And so is the goal of the program to initially help the child and the parent, but then also provide the parent with some skills that allows for them to kind of take over from there as the child grows older? Is that accurate?
Yes, so yeah, we try to, like I said, we try to teach parents and support them in their child's development, and hope that they become their child's advocate and do all the, different activities or different strategies that we might teach them.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that you mentioned encouraging the parents to become an advocate for their child. I know that some parents, as a parent myself who has kids in the schools and things and went to early childhood centers here, it seems like some adults, and some parents find it easier to advocate for their children than others. And I think that's awesome. That sounds like you work with the parents to encourage them to do that. Is it hard for some parents to feel comfortable speaking up for what they think their child needs?
Sometimes it can, especially if they're not understanding what the situation really is or what their child is going through. Um, but like again, we try to support them as much as we can, because once that child does reach the age of 3, we're not going to be there. And so it's important to be able to teach the parents those skills for them to advocate.
Your organization spends a lot of time speaking with parents who are both primarily English and first language as a primary language Spanish speaking family members and community members. Is that part of it as well? Is that sometimes I imagine your organization might help people who may face a language barrier, and I wonder if that's something that they run into.
Sometimes, yes. We, like I said, we are a bilingual agency, so we do have providers who speak Spanish to specific to support those families, especially with interacting with sometimes the public schools. But even though the public schools do have their own translators. But again, if that is the child's primary language is Spanish, we will support the family with that language.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to mention that when you and I spoke before recording this, we also discussed the possibility of recording one in Spanish. And although I have taken some Spanish and know a little bit, I definitely am not fluent. But for those listening to this, maybe what we'll do is we can re-record another version where you can answer in Spanish, and that might be something we can also create.
Sure, I am totally open for that.
Have you been working for the organization for a long time? Because I know that you've recently kind of changed your positions there. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. So yes, I've been working here. This is actually going to be my 5th year in October. So I started working just as a development specialist and family service coordinator. And this year in October, it'll be 5 years. And just at the beginning of July, I got the new position as the director here.
We're really happy to have you in that role and as a part of the PASO network and meetings. I know that, speaking about COVID, our meetings have changed recently. Obviously, they're all on Zoom and kind of not as personal as they had been. But if you could speak or share a little bit with us about what is the environment like for providers and individuals who work with young children in Taos. Do you feel like it's a pretty welcoming environment that has enough services, or are there some gaps in services that you feel would benefit your clients and your staff more? Or how do you feel kind of with respect to what's available to families here in Taos?
Well, I think having just the Paso a Paso meetings, I think they're really great because the whole community who is involved with working with children in Taos or in Taos County comes together, and we kind of could brainstorm of what we could work towards or what things are already available, so we don't like overlap services many times, I feel. And like I said, I just took this position, and so I just been to a couple of the Paso a Paso meetings, but so far the ones that I've been attending, I think, it's just nice having a group of people that are so invested in the child's just the overall of the child and what sources could be used to support them.
Are there any other organizations that your organization collaborates with in supporting families? I know you mentioned the Taos schools, but I was just curious if there's some others that you interact with often or not.
Yes, so we do also sometimes, if it's beneficial for the family or the family is interested, we do send referrals to First Steps or to Tiwa Babies. We also collaborate really closely. We get referrals a lot from the Taos Children's Clinic here in Taos. We have a really nice communication with the doctors from there. And then we also, we received a lot of referrals also from the CYFD office as well. We can support the families during those times. And then we work really closely with the New Mexico School of Deaf from Santa Fe, and also the New Mexico School of the Visually Impaired and Blind.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about your organization or that you want people to know out there?
I want to let them know that if they ever just have any concerns or any questions regarding their child's development, we're here to support them. Again, just reaching out to me. As well, I also wanted to let them know that right now, because of COVID, we do have our play group closed, but we also have a play group that it's from ages 2 to their 5th birthday. It's just half a day from 8 to 12 a.m. And it's usually from Mondays through Thursdays. And right now we're working to see if there is that need in the community.
And again, how can people reach out to you if you wouldn't mind sharing a phone number or a website?
Yes. So again, my name is Valeria Santiesteban. Our office number is 575-758-4274. My extension is 127. My email is bpolanco@eladc.org.
Thank you so much, Valeria. Los Angelitos. I really appreciate you sharing all that information. And thanks for all the work you do, and have a great day.
Okay, thank you.
Paso a Paso
Podcast.